Welcome to Leadership Devotionals. We are now on the 12th installment of Nehemiah the Servant Leader. And if you have been blessed with this series on Nehemiah, if you have learned on the principles of leadership from what Nehemiah's life has taught us, don't keep it to yourself. Share with your friends. Share the link here in this Facebook page so that others will also be blessed, especially fellow leaders like you. And so today, the subtopic for our devotional is when community works. We know that Nehemiah is a team player. He has organized teams so that the work on the walls will be a lot faster. When one family team is working on this part of the wall, another family team is working on this part of the wall, another family team is working on the doors or the gates, it makes the work all in all simultaneous. And it's a lot faster. And here, we can see that foresight on the work demands that leaders understand the past. Definitely, because you will not be able to see forward if you know where did you come from. And so foresight demands that leaders understand the past, leaders engage the future, and remove their blinders in order to develop creativity. Yes, we know from the previous episodes that Nehemiah is a learning leader, is an adaptive leader. And by his constant learning, he was able to parry on the assaults and the insinuations thrown to him by his enemies. Now, at this point in time, when the wall was almost completed, you know what? Nehemiah achieved what was apparently a task impossible by engineering standards. Remember that. Nehemiah was not using, mechanized cranes, mechanized machinery. There was none that time. But Nehemiah achieved what was apparently impossible. The walls of Jerusalem was completed in 52 days. Imagine that, in less than 2 months. This is an engineering feat. But wait, later, how did Nehemiah do it? Demonstrating a servant's heart, he took none of the glory on this engineering feat, but declared, "And it happened when all our enemies heard of it, and all the nations around us saw these things, that they were very much disheartened in their own eyes. For they perceived that this work was done by our God." Fellow leaders, to achieve such an engineering impossibility, Nehemiah's secret was he let God work a miracle through his people there who are building up the wall. It was God's work. It was God's doing. It was God's machination that the work was able to be finished in 52 days. And Nehemiah attributed everything. He attributed it all to God. He takes none of the glory for himself, but ensures that it is all given to God. Ken Blanchard asserts, leaders who are servants first will assume leadership only if they see it as the best way to serve. They are called to lead rather than driven because they naturally want to be helpful. They aren't possessive about their position. They view it as an act of stewardship rather than ownership. So you see here, Nehemiah realized that he was entrusted by God with the work. And when he realized that this is a stewardship, God worked through him, accomplished the impossible. And when it was finished, Nehemiah brought back the glory to God. We see that Nehemiah was committed to the growth of the people as well as convinced that he was doing more than just building a wall. This is amazing. Nehemiah was also a human resource practitioner. He was growing the skills and the development of his people, not just building the wall. He was creating a community. He was creating teamwork. He was creating an atmosphere in which together everyone achieves more. That is a team, and that is a community. The last half of the book is the record of people building. Okay, of people building. The administrative tasks of building, managing the project, were carried out to accomplish the purposes of the people. So, as with leadership, managing is done for people, not for the sake of controlling them. So we can see here another principle that Nehemiah has introduced to us. He empowered the people. Managing was there to make them effective and create the community rather than controlling them. With traditional pyramid, the boss is always responsible and the staff are supposed to be responsive to the boss, because we know that in a pyramid, the boss is on top here. But when you turn the pyramid upside down, those roles get reversed. Your people become responsible, and the job of management and the job of the leader is to be responsive to their people. That creates a very different environment for implementation. If you work for people, then what is the purpose of being a manager? The purpose is to help them accomplish their goals. Your job as a leader is to help your people win. This is such a beautiful principle that God has instilled to Nehemiah, being a servant leader. He realized he's being a steward, and he realized that he has to help his people achieve their own goals. Indeed, Nehemiah began the work knowing only that at its completion, he would return to Persia and go back to his job as the cupbearer of the king. He was committed to leave the city wall completed and in control of those who built it. He already trained the people to be successors in managing the wall, in managing their affairs, in managing their community. The community around the servant leader is enriched by his or her leadership because in the organization where he or she serves and within the wider world around them, there is a real hunger for community. And when people find it, they will do all they can to remain within it. Oh, this is beautiful. People by nature are cooperative and they hunger for community. It is up for us leaders to create that kind of environment. And when you create that kind of environment, you can just see how Nehemiah achieved the impossible engineering feat. Because real community is contagious. Being part of a community and doing a good job, are seen as very important by workers in an organization than getting ahead or making a good living. The values and interests of freedom, self-actualization, learning, community, excellence, uniqueness, service, and social responsibility truly attract people and motivate them to a common goal. Nehemiah successfully negotiated the process to create and foster this community of God's people. Chaos visited the building group as different agendas rose, but the willingness of Nehemiah to empty himself of self-interest, to realize that he was a servant of God, to realize that he was a steward of this God-given vision and project, created a new paradigm that gave rise to a true community of God's people. Fellow leaders, what is the environment in your organization? Are you creating a community wherein people would like to come in, would like to join, and would like to stay as they enjoy being part of that community? If this is your challenge, learn from Nehemiah and pray that God will give you the wisdom and the insight to create this kind of community where people would love to join and stay and bring glory to God. God bless you. Hello, fellow leaders. If you have been blessed with the devotional that you have just heard, don't forget to like, share, or subscribe. Because when you do that, more people, more leaders will be blessed with the same blessing that you have experienced. In YouTube channel, click subscribe to Good Shepherd Consultants. God bless you.